Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Glory be to Allah, all praise to Allah. There is no God but Allah.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I welcome you to the program, The Virtuous Woman. And of course, we thank Almighty Allah for making us see today. We thank Allah for making us witness this part of Ramadan. We pray to Him to make us witness much more of it and beyond. Amen. I am Sakina Adeyinka. Today on the program, we have a very interesting topic which we will be discussing. We also have a guest in the studio who will take us through the rudiments of the topic. We'll be back after this short break. Don't go away, we will be right back.
Al-Muminat Organization, a group of pious Muslim women upholding the tenet of Al-Islam, premise on Al-Quran and Sunnah of the Holy Prophet. Al-Muminat Organization's activities include weekly and monthly tarbiyah, a gathering where women are sermonized, house to house and mosque to mosque dawah, e-vocational training for empowering women, Unity Day, Al-Muminat Training Forum, ATF, a camping program where women are taught in line with the dictate of Allah and the Holy Prophets. To be part of this laudable and rewarding project, contact Al-Muminat headquarters at number 1 Thani Olodo Street, Jibowu Bus Stop, Yaba, or send your contributions to the following bank accounts. For more information, call 0802-950-6613 or 0805-531-9534. Al-Muminat Organization, the believing women.
Welcome back. The program is still The Virtuous Woman, and today we will be discussing a topic that relates with everybody. It shows us how we should relate with ourselves. It shows us what exactly are the things that people see in us, what exactly are the things that they see and they misunderstand. The topic is the misconception in Islamic culture. I have in the studio Barrister Salamatu Abubakar. She is a lawyer and she is into private practice. She will take us through the topic, what exactly are the misconceptions about the Islamic culture, how do we relate with them, and how do we see ourselves through them. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, let's start on this note. What exactly is Islamic culture? Of course, we know that every nation has culture. What is the Islamic culture?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. The topic is well chosen, and Alhamdulillah that we're discussing it at this important period, the period of Ramadan. We pray to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our fasting as an act of ibadah. Alhamdulillah, Islamic culture, or the misconception about Islamic culture, the first thing we need to understand about Islam is that Islam is a way of life. And when you look at Islam, Islam is a religion that touches all aspects of our lives. It's a comprehensive religion. You know, when you talk about your mode of dressing, your economic system, your political system, the way we eat, Islam addresses all these issues that we're talking about here today. You know, so when you look at Islam, you don't look at it that, okay, fine, I have a culture, this is the way I'm going to do my thing. Islam has its own way, but irrespective of where we are, maybe I'm an Igala, for instance, you are a Yoruba sister, we have an Igbo Muslim, you have an Ijaw Muslim, we have a different culture. But Islam has come to Islam has its own culture. Our way of life should be in conformity with the provisions of the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So when you talk about Islamic culture, it's the way of life of the Muslim. Once you are a Muslim, then you hold on to the teachings of Islam, to the provisions of the Quran, to the practice of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So that is what we talk about Islamic culture. But we need to still appreciate our own individual culture. Then we try to Islamize it as time goes on, once the understanding comes in.
Okay, let me take you from where you stopped. We want to Islamize our culture. A lot of us, like, we all have our different cultures, and there are so many things that our culture tells us to do that negates the Islamic. How do we marry the two together, my culture and the Islamic culture? How do we marry them together?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. At least we are human beings on the surface of the earth, and we are all from Allah. As Allah stated in the Quran that He has created us in different tribes. We have to appreciate that first. So from our different tribes, we have our norms, we have our culture. Then we are a Muslim, alhamdulillah. So you being a Muslim, you need to know what you are doing first. You need to educate yourself about your religion. You know, at times you find out that somebody is on the street walking, perhaps by her appearance, like, oh, this woman, she's a Muslim, vis-a-vis her appearance. You understand? Or you meet a guy with the beard, you say, oh, this person is a Muslim. That should not be all about the Islam in that person. We need to appreciate some of the teachings or some of the provisions of the Quran regarding some aspects of our lives. You know, so the first thing, you have to be knowledgeable about some teachings of the Quran. Let's take, for instance, our marital lives as Muslims.
Yes.
Okay, fine, we have Igbo Muslims, we have Muslims from Edo. Okay, like the Edos or the Northerners or the people from the North Central, they have their own culture as far as marriage is concerned. And alhamdulillah, if you have a Muslim from that part of the world, of Nigeria, then they should hold on to the provisions of Islam as regards nikah.
Okay.
They would not go into their own cultural beliefs. But my dear sister, we still need to appreciate the fact that where there are contradictions between the provisions of the Islamic culture and that of our own, we fall back to Islamic culture. But where there are no contradictions, you know, we can actually still practice some of our culture. Take, for instance, from the north, the northern woman will appear this way. They will say, okay, this is their culture, but actually it's Islamic culture.
But they don't see it as Islam. They feel it's their culture.
They feel it's their culture. That is why I said at times there are some cultural beliefs that are in line with the provisions of Islam. Talking about this kind of dressing. When you go to Edo now, you find out that their own cultural dressing is totally in contradiction with the provisions of Islam. Do you understand?
Yes.
Fine, alhamdulillah. Once you are a Muslim, you need to be knowledgeable. You need to know what Islam says about some aspects of your life. Let's take, we are talking about marriage, for instance. That is our marital aspect. You know, and when you talk about a valid marriage in Islam, you have the 4 requirements: the proposer, that is the offer and acceptance. You talk about the dowry. You talk about the witnesses. Then you talk about the sermon, that is the khutbah for the nikah itself. These are the 4 conditions that makes up a valid marriage. But when you look at other cultural beliefs surrounding nikah, take for instance, maybe from the Igbo or even Yorubas down here, you have this long list that are presented to the husband's family.
Yes.
From the list, you find out that you have to bring in alcohol, you have to bring atare, you have to bring this, you have to bring that. The husband's family has to come on the day and bow before the family of the wife.
Exactly.
These are cultural beliefs that are contrary to the provisions of Islam. So here we need to Islamize it. It's not left for both of us, for us as Muslims, to work towards educating our parents, our relations, Muslims generally, in order for us to have a better understanding of some concepts in Islam. So the basic thing, the underlying thing there is our knowledge. We have to have a comprehensive understanding of Islam in order to understand the comprehensiveness of Islam in all aspects of our lives.
Okay, Barrister Salamoto has told us that we have to be knowledgeable. You actually cannot give what you don't have.
No.
So if you have the right knowledge of Islam, then it is easy for you to convince people around you that this is the right knowledge of Islam.
No.
But of course, as you have said, we should follow the 4 major things Islam talks about, then we can include other things. So let's leave marriage a bit. Let's go a little bit into dressing. We know that all cultures have different way in which they dress. And Islam also has its own laid down way to dress. How do we marry dressing? A lot of people, even some parents, will tell you, why are you dressing this way? What do you mean? And you understand things like that. How do we as Muslims, how do we marry our culture with the teachings of Islam as regards dressing?
Alhamdulillah, as far as dressing is concerned in Islam has its own provision for it. Especially that it affects Muslimah, that is the Muslim women. And when you look at the provisions of the Quran in Surah Al-Hazab, that is Quran 33, and Surah Al-Nur, Quran 24, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stipulated how a Muslimah should appear. should dress, and everybody, I think we're aware of that. Because of time, we're not really going into details of that verse. But when you look at other people's culture, or the way we all started in obeying Allah, the provisions of that Quran, you find out that most of our parents will tell you that, oh, I started Islam before you.
Yes,
This what you are bringing in here
exactly.
is new.
It makes you look like you are
You
more
are
knowledgeable than they are.
exactly. They'll tell you that, oh, my Islam, I started this way. I put on my scarf, my gele, I'm good to go. Blah blah blah. I don't want you to appear this way, but this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us to dress. However, we might have different styles, in obeying Allah's commandment in that verse of the Quran. But the ideal thing is that the clothes you are using you are using to cover your body in obeying Allah in that verse must be plain, loose, not attractive, not too fitted, loose.
Okay.
Then you have to cover the part of your body except for your hands, for your face. But there are different school of thought to that as well. If the peak of the female Muslim dress is to cover up the face. That is when you talk about the niqab.
But of course, there are some maybe young Muslims who are just coming up who just feel, no, let me just use the small one so that at least while I grow, then I'm able to.
No.
Is it allowed to do it that way?
Alhamdulillah, in Islam, once the knowledge start coming, you grow as it comes. It's like when you want to start something, you have to take a step at a time. Do you understand? It's not for you to okay, you want to start dressing, perhaps you've read that provisions of the Quran that says that the whole part of a woman's body is aura except for the face and the hands, or the whole part of the woman's body is aura. Then the next thing, you just go and carry your jalbab and the niqab immediately. No. And if Allah makes it possible, alhamdulillah, you can equally do it that way. But however, once you have the understanding that, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, gradually, when you do it, when you take a step at a time, that understanding will be there, and you'll be able to maintain that pace very well. When I started with my scarf on my head. I have the understanding that my hair is nakedness, just my hair. I covered my hair with a scarf. Later, I started using a small cape hijab. Then the understanding will keep growing. Then I started putting on socks like that. So it's better for you to start gradually like that, so that you can maintain it. But it's not for you to start today and tomorrow you stop it. Okay. It's when you talk about like the northern woman now, she can appear this way today, tomorrow she removes the hijab. Okay. Why? Because they are taking it as their own culture. That is why we need to hammer it very well that this dressing is Islamic dressing, and it's Islamic culture.
Sorry to cut you short. This dressing, our dressing is an Islamic dressing. We should work as long as we are Muslim. We should dress the way Islam tells us. We'll be going on a quick break. When we return, the program continues. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا وآتوا اليتامى أموالهم ولا تتبدلوا الخبيث بالطيب ولا تأكلوا أموالهم إلى أموالكم إنه كان حوبا كبيرا وإن خفتم ألا تقسطوا في اليتامى فانكحوا ما طاب لكم من النساء مثنى وثلاث ورباع فإن خفتم ألا تعدلوا فواحدة أو ما ملكت أيمانكم ذلك أدنى ألا تعولوا وآتوا النساء صدقاتهن نحلة فإن طبن لكم عن شيء منه نفسا فكلوه هنيئا مريئا.
Welcome back. The program is still The Virtuous Woman, and we have in the studio Barrister Salamatu Abubakar. She's been discussing with us the topic misconceptions in Islamic culture. Islam is a way of life, as she has told us earlier. She has also told us about dressing in Islam, about marriage in Islam. Now we're going to other aspects of our culture in Islam. Barrister, I want us to go into social interaction now. We know that generally in our society is a mixed one, and it is hard for you to separate yourself from what does Islam have to say about social interaction.
Islam, Islam enjoys us to relate with ourselves very well, to be friendly, to be concerned about ourselves. As the hadith goes, that even a smile is an act of sadaqah. That's when you are relating with yourself. But however, there is one of the saying of Rasulullah that says that it is better for a man to hold an iron needle than for you to touch a lady that is not your maharam. So let's borrow a leaf from the hadith of the Rasulullah. It is wrong for you to mix together this intermingling between the male and the female, what you have on our campuses today, in the offices, where you have married women mixing up with married men, they interact as if, they are so free. But Islamically it's wrong.
But really, if we look at our society today, for example, I want to board a bus, and I have a man sitting beside me, how do we do it? Because looking at it on a practical level, I don't have a private car, and I want to go into a public bus. How do we do it?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enrich us as Muslims. A scholar will tell us that, fine, if you find yourself in such a situation and you have enough money on you, please pay for 2 seats.
What if I don't have enough money?
If you don't have money for 2 seats, then you wait for the next available bus for you to sit in front, or perhaps you can have your bag in between the meal. But however, there's what you call the luri as a situation that you cannot help. Situation that you cannot sincerely help.
That's why I wanted to give that. I wanted to say that in Lagos, of course, everything is.
You have to.
So how do you?
Situation that you cannot help, you just have to do with it and seek for the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you can always, in Islam, you just have to be patient with things at times. You can always wait for the next available. But when you cannot do that, then you go on and manage the situation as it comes.
Now, apart from mixing with, there are other ways of interacting with people at workplaces, in schools. How should we manage it? Apart from, since even if we don't mix, we don't sit together, we want to discuss, we have meetings together, we do things, how do we manage?
Now, alhamdulillah, really when a gathering that we are not really on top of the situation, you understand, where you have mixed religion and all that, ordinarily if it's to be our own occasion, you have the male apart, you have the female apart. Even what we have in the society today is that even the Muslims, most of the times when we have occasion, you have this round table, 10 for a table, and you have mixed men and women together, even Muslims. So we need to reawaken our conscience as far as mixing is concerned in this ummah of ours. Once we're having occasion, female separate, male separate. And if it's a situation whereby it's being controlled by non-Muslim, you as Muslim, like in the northern part, take for instance, like in northern schools, you have what you call Malo girls. They are always working in a tray, as in the girls are always together. Once they get to the lecture hall, they sit apart. Why? Because they have that orientation already. So anywhere we find ourselves, even if it's in the offices, once they are said, okay, this is the staff room for all the staff. Okay, Mrs. Raji, Mrs. Bada, Mrs. Abubakar, perhaps quickly you get your seats together. These are methods in which you can actually use to avoid this act of mixing with the opposite sex that we are not related.
Most importantly, as Muslims, we have to be sincere with ourselves. when you know the way things are, of course, some people would use the excuse of, no, at least I don't have a choice, let me just do it and go. Once we have to stay with ourselves, then it's easy for us to curb all these vices that we have. Jazakumullah khairan. Moving on now, I want us to talk about inheritance in Islam. Of course, it's part of our culture. Every culture we have ways of doing these things. In some culture, of course, the man has to, or whoever it is, will have to write a will and things like that. What is the Islamic perspective about inheritance?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Islamically, there is we don't talk about writing of will. You know,
So how
because
do you
Allah
do it?
Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has stated in Quran 4, that's right to Nisa, verse 11, talking about the Quranic heir. There is what you call Quranic heir, as in the portion that is allocated to each and every one of the members of the family. That is the Quranic heir. But when you talk about the will, that is wasaya. The wasaya has to do with you bequeathing or you giving out some part of your property before your death to certain members. Maybe your well-wishers could be members of a family that are not actually stated in the Quran.
That is before death.
Before the death of the person. So, and that portion must not be more than 1/3 of your property.
Okay.
You understand? So when you look at that, like for woman has half of what the male will have as inheritance after the death of the owner, maybe the father, or after the death of the owner of the property. Let's just put it so that everybody can understand. But when you look at it, some people tell you that, okay, why is it that women always have half of what the man is entitled to? Why? But we women, we don't really sit and listen or reason along with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The wisdom behind it is that you as a woman, you are a wife to a man, you are a daughter to a man. You get from your father, you get from your husband. And God forbid, well, death is an inevitable thing. You can equally get from your children. You understand, as a woman. So you get half of what the man or a boy will have in a family. But however, when you want to give excess or you want to give more than what Allah has stated in the Quran, having settled all your debts,
Okay.
after the demise of the person, you can give out of that 1/3 that you are entitled to bequeath to anybody.
Okay.
Exactly. So that is the provision. That is the cultural Islamic culture as far as inheritance is concerned.
Okay, quickly before we go, I want you to do a general recap of things that actually people misconcept. For example, in some parts of the country now, they have this ceremony, religious ceremonies, which are part of the culture. For example, you have masquerades, we have things like that. How do we relate with those things? Even if I don't practice it, I don't go into it, and it is being done in my area, they tell you don't move and don't do this. How do we relate with it quickly?
Now, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, maybe your culture, your area, there are some activities or celebrations like a cold day, your day, blah blah, and all those things like that. As Muslim, we need to understand it very, very well, you know, so that we don't fall part of it, because most of these things are shirk. It's better we isolate ourselves from all this kind of celebration, because we don't know where we are going to die, when and where we are going to leave the surface of the earth. So most of the times when we have all this kind of celebration, let's just try to isolate ourselves from them. And as I said earlier, knowledge is very, very important. You have it. Once you have it, it's compulsory on you to impact it on another person. Do you understand? Once you know that these celebrations are wrong, try to educate those around you, so that you won't just be the only one that has just this knowledge that we're talking about. You impact it on other people in your vicinity, so that they also can have the understanding that, okay, this celebration, they are not really Islamic.
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan, Barrister Salamat Abubakar. It's really been a wonderful time with you. To our viewers out there, you know that Islam is a complete religion. There is nothing you need that you won't find in Islam. Just seek for the knowledge as she has told us, and you will get it. I thank you very much for watching today's episode. Tomorrow is going to be another one. Make sure that you're there watching us, and inshallah we'll bring you a wonderful package. Jazakumullah khairan to our guests. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you very much for coming. I remain your host, Sakina Ajayinka. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره من الله والبعث بعد الموت لا إله إلا الله آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره من الله والبعث بعد الموت لا إله